Hello friends, welcome back. My name is Michelle Fondin and I'm the author of The Wheel of Healing with Ayurveda, an easy guide to a healthy lifestyle. And today we're going to talk about how your past story is preventing you from your healing. And to that end, I'm going to begin by reading a page in the chapter 6, called Healing Your Past from The Wheel of Healing with Ayurveda. And this is entitled, What is Your Story? Everyone has a story. Our story is our past. We might repeat this story only to ourselves, to others, or both. Often this story weighs us down like a lead cloak, preventing us from moving forward in life. And if it doesn't do that, it at least slows us down sometimes. We use our story as an excuse not to take risks or change our path. We use our story to get sympathy or pity. At times, we use our story as a mask so we don't have to reveal our true self to others. So what is your story? It may be simple or long. It may take into account other people or just one person. The story takes the form of a diagnosis, a single experience, or repeated experience. At all times, your story makes you a victim. Here are some examples of stories people tell. I was abused as a child. I was abandoned. We were poor. My father left when I was 8 years old. I'm a cancer survivor. I come from a broken home. I'm a single mother or father. I'm a diabetic. I suffer from depression. I was not given the same opportunities as my brother or sister. I am a middle child. My father was an alcoholic. My parents were immigrants. My parents were married but hated each other. I was the smart one. At school, I was considered a nerd. I am fat. So as you can see by those stories and those self-declarations that we tell to ourselves, those all come from our past. Whether it was yesterday, last week, 10 years ago, or 60 years ago, those declarations and stories come from our past experiences. If you are to truly heal from your cancer, from your fibromyalgia, from your lupus, from your diabetes, from your heart disease, from the stroke, whatever disease you're suffering from, or your anxiety and depression, the mental diseases, they're included in there too, you need to learn to let go of your story. Now, some people use their story as their calling card. Don't you know people like that? Like, they seriously do. Within seconds of meeting them, they say things like, oh, I suffer from anxiety, or I have insomnia and I can't sleep at night. I need to take 10 Ambien in order to get to sleep. Or they might say, my father was an alcoholic and he beat the crap out of me. Like, we hear this, right? You could just meet someone and within 5 minutes, you will know if they're living in the past. Now, here's the problem. I'm not denying the fact that some bad things happen in the past, but a lot of good things happened in the past too. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be alive, right? So some good things must have happened. You must have somehow gotten food and shelter and education and friends. Something good must have happened. But sometimes we have a tendency to hold on to those stories of the past in order to prevent us from moving into the future. Now, if you're trying to heal, if you're trying to figure out the path to healing, if you're trying to figure out the wheel of healing, if you're trying to figure that out, the one thing you absolutely positively need to do is let go of your story of the past and create a new story. You can write your story. You are the author of your story. You're the writer of the story. You are the orchestrator of your own story. You do not have to hold on to those stories from the past. You can utilize the stories from the past to make your future, meaning you turn a negative into a positive, such as I've done. I don't like talking about my cancer diagnosis when I was 28. I really don't. Like, I talk about it in these videos because I'm talking about books about healing. I'm talking about healing from disease and a lot of times people can't relate to other people unless they have gone through the same thing themselves, and then the other person going through that thing as well can relate to that person by saying, oh yeah, you went through it, so I totally get it, I understand. So I don't generally in public talk about stuff like this. My friends don't know. In fact, one friend who I've known for 5 years now, he started reading The Wheel of Healing with Ayurveda in Spanish. He's Spanish speaking. And he read about my story with the diagnosis with thyroid cancer, and he said, I've known you for 5 years. I never knew that story. Like, I had no idea that that was part of your story. And I said, well, yeah, I don't typically talk about it. So, and I don't talk about it because it was a transmutation. I had that experience, I transmuted it into something positive, and I continue to do something positive with it. It's the same thing when I'm talking to alcoholics in recovery. That's the same thing, that it's part of their story, but they've transmuted it into a positive, and they're helping other alcoholics recover, or helping other family members, or they're turning that story around to create something great. And really, that's what it's about. It's about turning that story around to create something great. So if you were abused as a child, I'm sorry, it's a tough time. Yeah, you didn't deserve that. Changing your past doesn't mean you deserved what happened. Changing your past story and not allowing it to be your present story doesn't mean you're saying that what those people did in your past to you or for you or in spite of you, what those people did, that doesn't make it okay. It's not acknowledging that that was okay, but it's just saying, I'm not going to let that hold me a prisoner anymore. I'm not going to let that be a part of my story. And so you can create your new story today. It's just as easy as a decision. When some people say, like, it's not easy, and usually it comes with a voice like that, right? It's not easy. I was beat so much as a kid. You know, when people say that, it's just like, yeah, it happened. Okay, it happened. But yes, it's that easy. It is that easy. It's a decision. It's a decision to change and say, I'm not my past. I'm not that person back then. I'm not that person anymore. I'm a totally different person. And you are a totally different person because your cells are changing every single year. Every year you get a new set of cells. So there you go. You are not the same person that you were when those things happened to you, whether you were in an abusive relationship, whether you were a victim of a crime, whether you were very poor growing up. Like, none of those things define who you are today. You get to make the decision today as to who you are and who you will be in the future. So when we're dealing with things like disease, when we're dealing with things like chronic illness especially, you need to make the decision that you're going to divorce yourself from your past. You're going to learn from it. Of course you're going to learn from it, but you're going to divorce yourself from it, meaning that, you know, a divorce is something, it's a process through which you're not legally bound to that person anymore. So what I'm going to ask you to do is to divorce yourself from your past so you're not legally bound to it anymore. You've broken those chains. You're not chained to your past anymore, so that your new story has to be something totally different. So let's suppose that your family, for example, and I know someone whose family, they have a lot of suicides in their family, and they have really deep, dark depression in their family. And this person in particular presents themselves in their calling card, they present themselves as suffering from depression and having a family history of a lot of depression and suicide. And you can divorce yourself from that family history by saying, I'm working on meditation, yoga, healthy eating, and overcoming my tendency toward depression each and every day. And you don't even have to use the word depression. You're saying, like, I'm lifting my mood each and every day through meditation, yoga, tai chi, healthy eating, and a greater outlook on life. And gratitude, really. The great way to overcome any mental illness or any limitations on your life is to turn toward gratitude. Is being grateful for what is in the here and now. Because what is anxiety? Anxiety is a false pretense of what is. So it's looking at what could be, and it's looking at what was, but it's not looking at what's here, right? So unless if you're in the middle of a terrorist attack or world war, then typically you're pretty fine, right? So if you're in an abusive household and you have the opportunity to get out, just get out. Don't go back to that abusive situation. Even if it's really difficult, even if it's really hard, you have the power of choice. You have the power of decision. Even if seemingly you don't have the power of decision, you actually do have the power of decision. So even the decision to not make a decision is a decision, right? The decision to not make a choice is actually a decision. So it's picking yourself up and it's taking you out of the past and putting you into the present moment. And gratitude's a great way to put yourself into this present moment in order to create your beautiful future. So, for example, like right now, as I'm filming this, I hear the birds chirping, and that's such a beautiful present moment, isn't it? I'm sitting in this beautiful office, this lovely office that I have. And so that is my beautiful moment into the present. And I'm talking to you guys, which is a great, beautiful present because I love this opportunity to be able to talk to you guys and to talk to you about healing and to talk to you about the Wheel of Healing with Ayurveda, which is my beautiful book that came out of my experience with illness, and that's how it came about. And without that experience in illness, I wouldn't be able to talk to you about wellness today. So do you understand that transformation that in a heartbeat, you make the decision to let go of your past, transmute it into something absolutely beautiful, and to move forward into your flourishing future. Now, there will be a few of you that will want to stay in the victim mindset and want to stay with your story and want to stay with your past. But remember, that's a choice. That's a choice you're making. You're making a choice to hold on to your past. You're making the choice to not let go. And if you're not ready to let go, then at least recognize that. Just recognize it. Say, you know what, today I'm not ready to let go, but maybe tomorrow I'll be ready to let go. And do it with cognizance. Do it with consciousness. Make that conscious choice to not let go and let go when you're ready. And if you're having trouble letting go of your past, you can also ask God, Spirit, your angels for help to help you let go of that past. Now, it never works for anyone to hold on to grudges and unforgiveness. So asking heaven to help you work through those problems of unforgiveness, of not being able to let go of your past can help you too. It's reaching out to something greater than yourself in order to heal your body, mind, soul, and spirit and just let go of that past. So thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for subscribing to my channel below. Share this video with friends, family, and your dog. Thank you for pledging your support on Patreon. I love bringing you these videos. Pledging your support on Patreon helps to support the production of these videos. www.patreon.com/Michelle S. Fondin, and I will see you in the next video.